I am 82 years old, and a few months ago I was sitting alone in my kitchen late at night. The house was quiet in that way it only gets when you have outlived most of the noise. I was holding my phone, staring at a name on the screen. Someone I had not spoken to in years. I wanted to call. My thumb hovered there for a long time. Then I put the phone face down on the table and went to bed. That night, I could not sleep. Not because something bad happened, but because nothing did. I lay there thinking about how many times I had done the same thing in my life. Wanted to speak, wanted to act, wanted to move and didn't. Out of fear. That was the moment it finally settled in me. I had wasted most of my life being afraid. When I was young, I did not think of myself as a fearful person. I was quiet, yes, careful. I liked to plan things in my head before I did them. My father used to say I was sensible for my age. I took that as a compliment and carried it with me. I thought being careful meant being responsible. I did not know then how thin the line is between care and fear. I grew up in a small house where nothing much was said out loud. We did our jobs, we ate our meals, and we went to sleep. My parents worked hard. They worried about money, about neighbors, about what people would say. I learned early that staying out of trouble was important. If you didn't stand out, nothing bad would happen. That idea sank into me slowly, like water into wood. At school, I was the boy who raised his hand only when he was sure. I never spoke just to speak. I watched other boys take chances, make jokes, get into arguments. Sometimes they failed. Sometimes they got laughed at. I told myself I was smarter for staying quiet. What I didn't see was that they were also learning how to live without fear of looking foolish. When I was in my early 20s, I got my first real job. It wasn't special. A desk, a stack of papers, a time clock. But it was steady, and that mattered to me. Every morning I left the house at the same time. Every evening I came back tired but relieved. Relief became a feeling I chased for years. Relief that nothing had gone wrong. Relief that I was still safe. There was a girl back then. I won't say her name, not because it's a secret, but because it still feels close. We worked in the same building. She laughed easily. Not loudly, just easily. We ate lunch at the same table most days. I liked her more than I ever admitted, even to myself. I thought about telling her. I planned what I would say while lying in bed at night. But when the moment came, my chest tightened. What if she said no? What if it changed things? What if work became uncomfortable? So I stayed quiet. A year later, she told me she was moving away to get married. I smiled, said congratulations, and meant it. But something in me closed a little that day. Life went on the way it does. I married someone else, a good woman, kind, patient. We built a life that looked solid from the outside. We bought furniture together. We argued about small things like bills and groceries. We ate dinner at the same time every night. Meat, vegetables, bread. Not much talking. The television filled the silence. I worked for decades at the same company. Same desk, different years. People came and went. Younger faces replaced older ones. I stayed. Promotions came my way once or twice, but they involved changes. New responsibilities. New eyes on me. I told myself I was happy where I was. The truth was, I was afraid of failing in front of others. Afraid of being seen. Every day followed a pattern. Wake up, shower, breakfast, Work, dinner, sleep. On weekends, small errands, fixing things around the house, visiting family out of obligation, not desire. I rarely said no, but I also rarely said yes to anything new. I told myself there would be time later. Years pass quietly when you live like that. They don't announce themselves. You don't feel older day by day. One morning you just notice your hair is thinner. Your knees hurt when you stand. People start calling you sir instead of your name. My wife used to ask me what I wanted. Simple questions. Where do you want to go on vacation? What do you want to eat? What do you want to do this weekend? I often answered, I don't mind. It sounded polite. It sounded easy. But after many years, she stopped asking. I didn't notice when that happened. I only noticed later, when silence became our normal way of talking. The biggest fears I carried were never dramatic. I was not afraid of war or disaster. I was afraid of awkward moments, of difficult conversations, of saying the wrong thing. I avoided conflict like it was something that could ruin my life. So I let small problems grow. I let misunderstandings sit. I let distance form between me and the people I loved. My children grew up in that quiet house. They were fed, clothed, cared for. But I rarely told them how proud I was. I assumed they knew. I was afraid of sounding foolish or emotional. When they needed guidance, I gave practical advice. Study hard, be careful, don't take risks. I see now I was teaching them my fear. Time moved faster after I turned 50. I don't know why, but it did. 1 year blended into the next. Birthdays came and went. My parents died, one after the other. At their funerals, people spoke about regrets and memories. I listened and felt something heavy in my chest, but I did not understand it yet. The turning point came when my wife got sick. Not suddenly, slowly. Doctor visits, medications, long nights. I took care of her the best I could. I did the practical things well, cooking, cleaning, scheduling appointments. But there were things I never said. I was afraid of saying the wrong thing, of making her sad, of facing the reality that we were running out of time. She passed away on a quiet morning. No drama, just a deep stillness. Afterward, people told me I had been a good husband. I nodded and thanked them. Alone in the house that night, I realized how many words were left unsaid. Not because I didn't feel them, but because I was afraid to let them out. After she was gone, the days stretched out. Retirement had already come. Work no longer filled my time. The house felt larger, emptier. I started thinking back, not in a sharp, painful way, more like a slow review. Moments I skipped, chances I avoided, conversations I delayed until they disappeared. I began to notice a pattern. The things I feared most never happened. The girl from work never rejected me because I never asked. The promotions I avoided were given to others who managed just fine. The conversations I avoided did not protect my relationships. They weakened them. Fear promised safety, but it delivered emptiness. Now, at 82, my days are simple. I wake up early, I make tea, I sit by the window and watch people pass by. Young people walking fast, looking at their phones, carrying worries I recognize. I want to stop them sometimes and tell them what I have learned, but I know they wouldn't listen. I wouldn't have. What hurts the most is not what went wrong. It's what never happened. The trips never taken. The words never spoken. The risks never tried. Fear stole my time quietly. It did not shout. It whispered that there was always tomorrow. If you are listening to this, I am not here to tell you how to live. I don't have lessons. I only have regret. Time is smaller than it looks when you are young. People don't stay forever, and the things you fear often disappear the moment you face them. If there is someone you think about but haven't called, maybe don't wait. If there is something you keep putting off because it feels uncomfortable, maybe that discomfort is the price of being alive. I waited too long for too many things. If this story felt familiar, you can share your own in the comments. Sometimes saying it out loud is the first brave thing. And if you think someone needs to hear this, share it with them. If you want to hear more stories like mine, you can subscribe. Thank you for listening to an old man talk late at night.